For all of the pictures, paintings, and poetry that have been inspired by Mount McKinley, the tallest peak in North America, one of its most compelling and true portraits seems to have come from plain white cotton fabric. Ree Nancarrow devoted a full year of her life to a commission for the National Park Service, to a completely original work of art for a new Eielson Visitor Center inside Denali National Park and Preserve in interior Alaska. Seasons of Denali, a 4-panel quilt rendered with dyes, silkscreens, stencils, stamps, fabric paints, and oil sticks, depicts what she has come to know and love about living in the area for almost 45 years.
I have used lots of very, very bright colors in my work in the past. It would have been easy to ramp up the color in here, but I really wanted to keep it to something that is indicative of that area out there. You know, we don't have southern Florida flower colors, except in the fall. Fall can be, on a few days or a few weeks, really incredibly brilliant in color compared to other times of the year.
Have you ever given much thought to how much time is devoted in each one of these little screens?
Oh, it's much better not to know. Once I'm working on this, it really doesn't matter how much time it takes. It's just, if you just are doing what's necessary to get to the next step. There's not much of anything else I'd rather be doing. This is kind of the part where it gets fun, because you're kind of making choices on the wings, so to speak. Trying to decide what texture you want where, what color. When I first discovered that you could actually silkscreen on something that had seams on it, it was like, oh, I can't believe it. You know, a friend of mine comes up and works with me a couple times a year. She talked about silkscreening, and all of a sudden it occurred to me what she had just said, and I said, you mean you screened on it after you had it sewn together with seams? Oh yeah, she said. Well, my goodness, that's what really launched me into silkscreening. It's been really fun to work on this piece, because I'm bringing together not only all of the knowledge that I have of the area, and I really particularly love that area. I'm putting together a lot of the techniques and skills that I have with fabric. I don't think there's anything I've done with fabric that I haven't pretty much, you know, brought into this piece. It's certainly the most important piece I've done to this point. And but I'm going to keep right on working. You know? You never know. I tend to enjoy commissions because I learned something that I never would have tackled otherwise, you know. This has been an interesting project because there are a lot of things that are different than the way I've worked in the past, and I know lots more about a lot of things than I did before. It's been really fun. I'm looking forward to taking some of those things into some new pieces. That'll be fun to do. Anything is better than nothing. If you leave a big white open spot, it destroys your whole ability to see the flow of everything. It was a big deal when I finally got everything covered all in green and I could start to see, you know, what was happening with this. You have to keep everything that's possible to keep flexible until the very end. I mean, you have to start sewing it together. You have to start putting some pieces together. But in order for the whole thing to come out square and lined up and everything, I've got to build a lot of flexibility in. Traditional quilting, where people are taking a traditional pattern, they'll go in and buy the fabric, choose their design, then it's really fun to sew it together. But I like this because even on these small units, I don't know what the heck's going to happen next. Everything is just kind of a total unknown. And I really like that. I like that just kind of... And when you do the curve seam piecing that I do with the wavy lines, it's not as easy to have things, you know, dead on, and in fact I don't want them to line up exactly, because the waviness of the line, to me, it gives it an organic look. I like the fact that that everything has this kind of undulating movement to it. It gives it a different look, and it's one that I think is well worth the extra work that it takes to do that. Every season has its thing that you really are excited about.
Mm-hmm.
I've always liked March and April best because the sun's back, and when I was out skiing and running dogs, that's when you were out. It was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
We had lots more snow back then than we have now. Oh yeah.
Hmm.
And it's way different now. I've put way more time and effort into this than is a logical thing to do, but I've just loved it. I've never worked this realistically before for the place in which it's going to be shown. It's just ideal. This just seems like what should be out there at Eielson, because people are that knowledgeable and they are that interested. So it really wasn't hard to decide to do all this. But there are still people who do the hand quilting. It's exquisite work, but gosh, I don't know. I work with quilting because I like what I can do with a different media. I mean, I could just as well paint or do all kinds of stuff, but this has a look that you don't get any other way. I like machine quilting because I like the lines that I can get, the variation in color. So there's a reason not to hand quilt in my book, because you can do a lot of other things. With a hand quilting, it's just one look,
yeah.
And it is beautiful. Boy, I really can appreciate it, but it's not something that I would like to do. They're going to be long days, you know. I am not complaining. I love what I'm doing.